I come back to give them licks, oh yes. I come back to send them home. I come back to give them licks, oh Lord. I come back to send them home. You go hear them fall, you go see them crawl. Whoever give them win, tell them I'm the true king. I come back to give them licks, oh yes. I come back to send them home.
What's up, guys? Happy New Year to everyone. Hope wherever you are, you're doing well and keeping well. 2025 was a rough year in some ways, and I hope that 2026 brings good fortune, health, and strength to everyone. Just wanted to come on today to review the just completed Calypso season in Montserrat. I look at 2025 as sort of a transition year, not just in Calypso but in music, with the whole evolution of AI. And I just wanted to touch on that a little bit before I get into the Calypso finals. I want to say first of all that I have no problem with technology. Technology that enriches our lives, makes us safer, brings about positive infusion to our lives. I have no problem with that. But I don't like technology that just makes us lazy. And this past year, you know, we've started hearing even some calypsos that were composed by AI. You have these really sophisticated programs now, these apps and different things where you basically tell the computer what genre of music you want and you enter some lyrics and it does the work for you. You know, the way how I look at AI, I don't know if this is the perfect analogy, but you know how they say, like, for instance, marijuana is a gateway drug. To me, you know, marijuana is a gateway drug where, you know, you start off and it's all innocent, and then next thing you know, you're doing crack and you're doing coke. To me, AI should be used supplementally. It should not be the main course. And I just believe that this wonderful gift that God gave us, this brain, the brain that invented the telephone and the television and the airplane and the automobile, you know, the brain that built the pyramids in Egypt, you know, there's a reason why we're still talking about Shakespeare, what, 400, 500 years after he passed. These were unique people. The human brain and the capacity that it entails is just unlimited. And even the human brain that created AI, you know? And I just feel like, why, in many ways, we are outsourcing our brain. And to me, I think we've reached a sort of a tipping point, you know? And yeah, when it comes to Calypso, I see how AI has influenced it. And I must say I'm a little worried about the sort of road we're going on, you know. So we'll see how it turns out. But I just wish we could try to be as original as possible. And yes, you can use AI, you can use technology, but I think we need to use it in a discretionary tone, you know. One more issue I would like to touch on before I get into the Calypso finals is about the points system that is being used in the Montserrat Calypso competition. For the last few years, we know that after each Calypsonian performs, they have been publicly listing the points that they give. I do not believe that they should announce points at all during the eliminations and the semifinals. And the reason is, I like going into the Calypso finals, there being sort of an air of suspense. You know? All they need to announce in the eliminations and the semifinals is just to announce publicly the Calypsonians that pass to the next round. Right? I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a Calypsonian who reaches the Calypso finals, right? And all the scores are announced publicly. And let's say that Calypsonian just barely got into the Calypso finals. So they're like number 10, 9 or 10 in points or whatever. They know that they pretty much have no shot of winning the crown, right? Because how are you gonna leapfrog 8, 9 people to get to the top with the same songs that you just performed in the eliminations and the semifinals. It's just virtually impossible. So I just like having some suspense. Look, I am all for transparency. I understand maybe the intent behind putting all these scores out there, but I just don't believe everything was should be transparent. You don't want transparency at the detriment of your entire product. And I just think that going into the finals, it should be a level playing field. Nobody knows where they stand. I think you get better performances that way. When you announce the points, you could have a situation where the people at the top maybe feel a little complacent, figuring, okay, I don't have to do much work, I'm going to win. Or maybe the people at the bottom feel, well, hey, listen, I'm never going to win anyway, so I'm not going to give it, much effort. So I just think that it would be a much better decision to just have no points announced during the semifinals and the eliminations. And also, I don't think those points should carry over from the eliminations to the semifinals, because any Calypsonian could have a bad night. And so imagine you have a bad night in the eliminations and your point total is low, and then now in the semifinals you have to, to make that up, it's just a really tall task. And so, yeah, that where the points are concerned, I just think that some things need to be discreet. Okay, so let's go on to the Calypso finals now. And the winner was the Bear. What else can I say about the Bear? I mean, this guy is just a generational talent. I think now he has 7 crowns in Montserrat, 6 in Antigua. I think he has 3 or 4 Leeward Islands monarchs. He's also the 2-time defending Groovy Soca Monarch winner in Montserrat. I mean, just an exceptional career. And, people have to realize, for instance, I think the first year that the Bear made the finals in Montserrat was in 1987. We're talking about almost 40 years ago. And this guy is still at the top of his game. That is just really admirable, I think. Think about it. 40 years. To still go up there on stage and have that passion and still be relevant after all this time is just really amazing. One little thing I would like to say about the Bear. I have always maintained, as a Calypso fan, that I am not particularly in favor of when Calypsonians sing songs about themselves. Bigging up themselves and things like that. I think a Calypsonian can perform a song where they are the main character in the song, but they're doing it to make a greater point. I think, for instance, a song like maybe Short Shirt song, Nobody Go Run Me, where he's talking about things he experienced in Antigua and everything. But I think the greater point he was making is the fact that some people are just going to undermine you and hate you for no reason and do things just because they don't like you or they're jealous of you or whatever. That's a fact of life. But with the Bear, singing about himself and making himself the main character has worked for him. I gotta hand it to him. It works for him. And we see his track record. Those songs, Don't Wake the Bear, You Can't Stop the Bear, Let the Master Show You, and even this past Carnival when he sang, Give Them Licks. He's the main character. And you can tell that he is most motivated when he has a grievance, when he has an axe to grind. It works for him. So more power to him. And so I just want to congratulate him and just take my hat off to him and say, listen, man, you are a once in a generation talent. And also I wanna commend him for his work with the young people, teaching masquerade and teaching the culture to the youths coming up. And so, best, good work, my brother, I must say. First runner-up was Kenzie. Kenzie had 2 really good songs. One of them was called No Man, and the other one was called Black on Black, Strat on Strat. I think one of the things I admire about Kenzie is that he has always been true to himself, and I respect that. And let me explain what I mean. He has had a rivalry with the Bear now for many, many years, going back to the early 90s, right? And, oh, by the way, he has beaten the Bear before. In 1994, he beat the Bear, you know, just beat him with better songs. And in recent years, and you know, the Bear has gotten the upper hand over Kenzie. And I'm sure sometimes maybe friends of Kenzie maybe have gone to him and say, listen, man, if you want to beat the Bear, you have to go up there and gesticulate, and you know, you have to be more active on stage and everything. Kenzie is who he is. He's not going to go up there and blow you away with his stage performance. He's going to go up there, he's going to be lyrical, he's going to be steady, he's going to have good melodies, and he's just going to perform. And I respect the fact that he has always remained true to himself and not tried to be something he's not. Because sometimes people try to be something they're not and they just end up looking foolish. So I just want to say I respect that about Kenzie. And he had really two really good songs this year too. So first runner-up, can't argue with that. Second runner-up was Silk, the defending champion. Silk was going for the three-peat. It's really hard to get 3 in a row. And his first song was Colonialism Must End. It's kind of following the same theme in recent years. You know, he had a song a couple of years ago about self-determination. You know, his songs are mostly about politics and different things like that. I like Colonialism Must End. I like the song. I like the message, and I really like the arrangement. I think it was unique. I think it was creative, and I really liked it. And Silk finished second runner-up. He has an amazing resume. He's had an amazing career. He's not only won 4 crowns, but he's finished first runner-up 5 times. So that's like almost potentially 9 crowns there he could have won if the votes had swung either way, you know? So take my hat off to Silk. You know, it's you know, you can't win every year, and I'm sure he's gonna be back, you know, back next year with a bang and try to go for that, reclaim that crown. Fourth place was Maggie D. Now, I am an unabashed Maggie D fan. I was rooting for her. I really admire her because of her passion for cultural participation. She has been in the Junior Calypso, she has been in the teen pageant, the Queen show, Police Week Calypso show, the regional female show, you name it. And I just really admire her love for the culture. And I was rooting for her. Her first song, which was about protect our children, loved that song. I thought it was well written. She performed it well. She looked beautiful on stage when she sang it. And if I were judging, I would have probably given her close to perfect marks for that performance. In the second song now, which was called Soca Come Back Home, I had a few issues with that song, and I'm going to explain. When I heard that song initially, I listened to it carefully and listened to the lyrics. And look, maybe it's just me, but I was a little confused as to the central message of the song. If I were to speak to the writer of the song, I would ask, what is it that you would like to see happen? What is the central message of the song? If you're saying that you don't think Montserrat has gotten its due credit for the evolution of soca, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. But when you say soca come back home, say goodbye to the land of Pan, what do you mean? What do you want? You want Trinidad to stop doing soca? You want Montserrat to start doing more soca? I wasn't sure. And I actually had a debate with a friend of mine about that song. And she said to me, well, I think what the song is saying is that, you know, we long for the days of Arrow and Hero, and when they were the kings of soca and things like that, which is fine. But Arrow and Hero are like once in a lifetime talents, and sadly, they passed on, and I don't know that we could ever duplicate that kind of talent. So I'm just saying that I just had some issues with that song. And another thing too, as I listened to the lyrics, some parts of the lyrics kind of sounded a little disparaging to Trinidad. And I didn't like that, because it is historically proven that soca was invented in Trinidad. You know, yes, Arrow and Hero took it to a different stratosphere, but soca was invented in Trinidad, so we cannot deny their part in soca, the history of soca. So I don't know. There was some issues I had with that song, and I found that a lot of people have been debating about what the song means and everything. And to me, if people are debating about what a song means, that's not a good thing. You don't want ambiguity when you're being judged, you know, when you're in a competition. And one thing I noticed is that in the Calypso finals, Maggie got 31 fewer points in the second round than she did in the first round. Now in the second round, I'm talking about when she sang Soca Come Back Home in the second round. Now usually people save this the best song for the second round. So the fact that she got 31 fewer points for that song tells me maybe some of the judges may have been a little confused about the message too. I'm not sure, because she performed it well. So why would she lose 31 points fewer than she did in the first round? So I don't know. I haven't spoken to the judges. I'm only speculating. But the song sounds great. Don't get me wrong. But I just think there was some mixed messages in there, and I don't think it was perfectly clear, crystal clear what the message was. Okay, fifth place was Yogi Laser. I actually had Yogi Laser finishing exactly at fifth place. He's sort of like in the same realm as I spoke earlier about Kenzie. They're not going to blow you away on stage with their stage performance, but they're going to be steady, have good diction, have good clarity. I thought Yogi Laser, had two decent songs. He had one called March to Freedom and the other one, Caged Bird. So it's sort of a defiant song, talking about some of the setbacks he's had and how he's going to remain resolute, always like Yogi Laser, and he sings, usually sings a lot of nation-building songs about Montserrat, which I admire. So I was not surprised that he finished in fifth place. I remember a friend of mine, when they announced the results, said, "Really, they had Laser at fifth?" And I said, "Yeah, the guy's, he's pretty consistent, So I wasn't surprised. Sixth place was Bimshaw. Bimshaw finished first runner-up last year when he had I Waste My Ex, very popular song. Obviously not as strong this year, but still steady, He had a song, Me No Sure, where he was talking about the Port Project. Silk also had a song, his second song was about the Port Project as well. I thought that Bimshaw's song about the Port Project was a little more entertaining, a little more creative, so Bimshaw is always steady. So, happy for him. I know he spent quite a few months in England, doing his one-man band thing, singing on the street and everything. So hardworking guy. So I'm always happy for him. Seventh place was Boxer. First timer, native of Dominica. This guy really impressed me. And I think that if he has the right people around him, the right support system, this guy could make some serious inroads in Calypso. Because I don't know what he did before he came to Montserrat, but on that Calypso stage, he didn't look like an amateur to me. He looks the part, he sounds the part, and I think if he has the right material, the right system around him, I think he could really do some serious damage in the Calypso realm. So I'm happy for him. Eighth place was Dado. This was Dado's third year in a row in the finals. And for whatever reason, I don't know, but it seems like he's regressing. I remember when he came out 2023 and he sang Fade Away and Changes in Life, and he was pretty solid. I don't know what has happened since then. I haven't had a conversation with him. I'm not sure. But something is off there. I don't know if it's the tempo. I don't know if it's the material. But he just does not seem comfortable on stage. And so in order to perform well, you have to feel liberated on stage. You can't feel bogged down like, you're so focused on your lyrics that you can't really, do other things. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if it's an easy fix. But I hope whatever the issue is, he gets it ironed out, because he has talent. I've seen Dado, singing in public, singing in church, So I know he can sing. So the talent is there. So I just think it's some other little things that he probably needs to just tweak in order to get where he wants to go. Ninth place was Calypso Blessings. I should say Blessings. Former junior Calypso monarch. This is her first time in the big show. And I thought she performed well. She obviously earned her way into the finals, going through the eliminations and the semifinals. I heard some people say that maybe she wasn't quite ready for the big stage, but I think she acquitted herself well. They've had people actually younger than her who have been in the finals. So I think she did fairly well. She does still have an aura of youth about her. She still sounds, her voice is still youthful and everything, but she's still growing up. But I see passion. I see, she said she was fearless. And I see that she enjoys performing, and it looks like if she loves Calypso. So that's always a good thing. So I'm sure she'll be back. 10th place was Black Pearl. When I heard Black Pearl sing in the eliminations and she performed that song, Old Talk, one of the things that occurred to me at the moment was, I live in the diaspora, but I am very much in tune to what's going on in Montserrat and, current events and different things like that. And the sentiment I get from talking to people in Montserrat and even in the diaspora is that although no government is perfect, Ruben and his team are doing a fairly good job. They are seeing tangible evidence of progress. I'm saying that to say that if you're going to do a Calypso that is critical of the current government, I don't know that this is the climate where you're going to get the public really behind you in droves. And a lot of times, the reasons why certain songs don't gain traction or maybe don't gain popularity is not necessarily because they're bad songs. It's just that they're just put out at the wrong time. And so I think maybe that song Old Talk would have worked maybe at a different time, but not right now. Like I said, no government is perfect. Yes, I know there were some access issues during the Christmas and everything like that. But from talking to people, the sense I get is that they feel the government is at least making an effort. They're seeing evidence of progress. So now is not really, the perfect time to criticize government. And also, maybe the fact that Black Pearl, Honorable Mulcair, is in the opposition. Some people might say, well, that song also comes off maybe as sounding a little personal. You know what I mean? So you never know. That might even turn some people off. It's always risky when you sing about politics because you're going to alienate somebody. And you don't want to alienate too many people. So singing about politics and criticizing a party or government is always risky. So I am not sure if that factored in here, but I am just telling you from my vantage point. Okay, I'd like to talk now about the regional female show. It was a wonderful show. I am so glad that tiny Montserrat has that show that so many people in the region are talking about. And I think it was ingenious for those promoters back in 2011 to expand it into a regional show. It's really paid off. And I'm just so happy that we have that show. Excellent show. And Terry Lyons did it again. 4 wins in a row. And she just continues to just amaze me. Terry Lyons has such a presence, that it's like if you're a judge, right? When you see Terry Lyons come up there, like for instance, the first song she did was, I think it was called Blessings. I think where she was saying, this is the church of Caricom. And she comes on stage and she has this, it's not even a performance, it's more like a production. She has people up there with the flags and she has, like all these people on stage and she's wearing this beautiful costume and she has the big wig. She's just a big presence. You know what I mean? And as a judge, yes, the song sounds good and everything. But as a judge, you look at that and you say, man, look at the effort she put into her. Look how seriously she's taking this thing. You can't help but mark her high. And to be honest, Terry Lyon's two songs, the first one about blessings, and then the second one was called I Am Lion, where she's basically talking about herself. If you listen to Terry Lyon's songs, they are not lyrical masterpieces, in my opinion. I don't think so. A lot of her songs are very straightforward, but it's the performance. It's the impact of the performance that I think makes it hard to forget and hard to take your eyes off her. And so she just has an amazing presence and very hard to beat. Very hard to beat in that competition. She is confident. I mean, just an amazing talent, you know. Montserrat entered 3 young ladies into that show: Maggie, Blessings, and Black Pearl. And I think Maggie held her own, you know, and showed that she belonged up there. I think this is actually Maggie's 4th time in the regional show. But I must say that at times during that show, when you contrast the heavy rollers, the Terry Lyons, the G. Eves, against some of the others, including our competitors, it didn't look like it was a fair fight. The contrast to me was glaring at times. And look, I am all for people getting opportunity to go on the big stage and gain experience and everything. But sometimes we have to be very careful and that we're not doing more harm than good. Because, like I said, I just think sometimes it just didn't look like it was even a fair fight. And, you know, to be honest, some of those Calypsonians like Terry Lyons and G. Eve, they have access to really elaborate costumes and different things that our performers just maybe not have the resources to get. So that makes it an unfair fight too. So those are all things I think that factor into it. But at the end of the day, you still have to go up there, you still have to perform. But it's a package. It's a package. And nobody could package a performance quite like Terry Lyons. And that's the reason why I think she's hard to beat in that competition. I'd like to talk now about some of my personal awards. The song that won Best Social Commentary was No Man by Kenzie. I think it's a very good song, but my choice for Best Social Commentary was Protect Our Children by Maggie. Maybe there's some personal elements in that, because I've always been of the belief that protecting children is essential in any society. I think every child is entitled to a great childhood with great memories. And, you know, sometimes they grow up and they do things and they disappoint us, but at least give children a good childhood. And so I really believe it's vital that we must protect them. So I really like that song. It was very well written. Maggie sang it perfectly. It was well arranged. I just think it was just a beautiful performance. I also think that song "Serve Your Country" by The Bear was a good social commentary as well. By the way, what is a good social commentary? To me, a good social commentary is a song that addresses a social issue, not only addresses it, but gives advice about how we can improve it, how we can rectify it, how we can solve it. You can't just talk about issues. You have to give some sort of a solution. That's always been my opinion. And so I think, like I said, I think Protect Our Children and also Serve Your Country by The Bear are good social commentaries. I actually thought Kenzie's other song, Black on Black, Strat on Strat, was even a better social commentary than No Man, you know, but, you know, No Man won, and, you know, congrats to Kenzie. My choice for best written song, I actually agree with what the judges said. I think it was Protect Our Children. And I think it was written by Eddie Prince Jibri. And I just want to say, I just want to send out big kudos to Prince. I mean, this guy every year does so much work and participates so much in our Calypso season. A lot of the songs that we heard in the Calypso finals, he wrote or arranged them or did both, a lot of them. And I don't know where our Calypso season would be without him. So And he won those two prestigious awards, Best Written Song and Best Arranged Song. You know, well deserved and everything. So I just want to take my hat off to him and say, man, you're doing really great work. And I think this year he was also involved in the St. John's Day and that battle they had there between Bear and Kenzie and everything, organizing that. Great work, Prince. You know, you deserve a lot of credit, I must say. Best Arranged Song, I think, was Colonialism Must End. You know, I don't know if that song had a little bit of AI in it. Maybe. I don't know. But, you know, like I said, as long as AI is used sparingly, I don't have a problem with that. But I love the creativity of Colonialism Must End because it had a nice introduction. It had a horn solo. It had like that hint of salsa merengue in it. Really love that arrangement. And the song that won most creative was Me No Sure by Bimshaw. There weren't really a lot of ultra creative songs this year. You know, but you don't have people like Cupid and, you know, some people in there who really focus on creative songs. So most of the songs this year were kind of straightforward. But, you know, Me No Sure, you know, by Bimshaw, I'll give it the nod. It was fairly creative, talking about sure, SHORE, SURE, you know, that kind of thing. So it was a little creative. My favorite overall song from the festival, I guess it was a tie. I would say it was a tie between No Man by Kenzie and also Protect Our Children by Maggie. I like those two. I really like those two. The most touching moment for me, the most memorable moment of the whole Calypso season was in the Calypso finals right before De Beer sang his first song, when he showed that video clip of himself giving an award to teacher Edith Jubri. And if that didn't touch you, if that didn't pull your heartstrings, you're not a human. And I don't know how that came about. I don't know how he had the foresight to do it. I don't know how it came about. I haven't asked him. But I just think that was such a powerful moment. And I remember when I saw that, I sent a text to a friend of mine and I said, listen, Bear don't even need to go on the stage. He done win the competition. Just a real powerful moment. And for me, the most memorable moment, because I knew teacher Edith very well and was very shocked, still shocked by her passing. And I just think that was a very touching moment. Before I wrap up, I would like to say something about one of the Calypsonians, Yogi Laser. You know, we toss around the word talent a lot. You know, we always talk about talent. You know, there are talented singers, talented athletes, you name it. Talent comes in many forms. Yogi Laser has been a contortionist for many years, performing all over the world. He has appeared in movies. I mean, just really, really, really great career. You want to talk about talent? How many people do you know that can do what he does as a contortionist? We can find talented singers anywhere. We can find talented athletes, musicians, all over. How many people do you know that can do what he does? And it's not just about his unique talent. I just think he's a good man. I remember a couple of years ago, a friend and I went to Yogi Laser's house in Montserrat. And when we got there, his brother was there and we didn't see Yogi Laser. So I asked the brother, hey, where's Laser? He said, oh, Laser is down by the farm, man. And I look behind Laser's house, there's a huge farm down there. And Laser is down there in this huge farm by himself in the hot sun, just toiling away. You know, he has a passion for agriculture. And I just want to say that, you know, sometimes we fawn over celebrities and we fawn over famous people and things like that. These are the people I admire. Hardworking, talented, and humble people. And I really think we as Monstrattians need to really acknowledge, you know, that this man's talent and honor him, you know, and give him the credit that he deserves. Anyway, as I wrap up, I just want to remind you folks to always check out my website, Montserrat Spotlight. It's www.montserratspotlight.com. I'm going to have a lot of new stories for 2026, and check it out. And, we've been around now for almost 7 years, and I've written, I think, probably about 110 stories in those 7 years, all on Montserrat. And so if you want to find out more about Montserrat culture, Montserrat history, Montserrat's people, check out Montserrat Spotlight. That being said, I just want to say Happy New Year again to everybody. Wishing you health and strength this year. And thank you for tuning in, and all the best to you. Have a great day. Take care.
Upbeat, melody, sweet, catchy. In terms of rendition, good clarity, phrasing, stylish, mic control. He used the stage well. I said he was just hot. He was telling a story. He had fantastic rhyme, chants, and advanced success and best. He used onomatopoeia when he talk about whoop and bap. And then I like the last part when he said, inna the nenen. I mean, just Montserrat English, and he was just there with, the black on the shirt, and red came out in fire. Red sleeveless jacket and pants and the shoes. He came out really hot. He couldn't get any hotter. Maybe nearly as hot as Arrow's song, Hot, Hot, Hot. Fantastic performance by the Bee, and he commands the attention of the crowd.